extremely important to continue the following specific health guidelines to stop the spread of COVID-19. This virus is highly contagious and is more deadly than the flu. Please wear a mask or face covering in public, wash your hands more often, socially distance yourself as much as possible, and by following these guidelines, it potentially could save your life.
Live and local conversation for the Ohio Valley continues shortly, here on the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
They're back. Major League Baseball, the NBA, Stanley Cup playoffs. Yeah, it's a good time to have some fun. And when I think of fun, I think of FanDuel Sportsbook. That's right, they're back. They're America's #1 sportsbook app. Check them out. Here's why they're #1. The app is super easy to use. I can use it. Whether you're a seasoned bettor or just brand new to wagering, you'll find what you're looking for in just a few taps. And this is what I like about FanDuel. They pay out in as little as 24 hours. And what if you lose? Best of all, FanDuel Sportsbook will let you place your first bet risk-free. Just place any bet you want and get up to $500 back if you don't win. So everybody wins. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app to get started. Be sure you sign up with promo code WKKX so they know that we sent you.
Oh, there's something so real about living local, and I know without a doubt I'm not alone. And I love living local. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. Said I love living local. WTRF is working for me. The Ohio Valley is where I love to be.
CA House Music has all the gear to make your music legendary. With all the best gear, including Fender, Epiphone, Yamaha, and more, CA House will have you rocking in no time. Get the most for your money with everyday low prices. And we meet or beat internet pricing. Play before you buy and let our product specialists help you pick out the instrument that's right for you. CA House Music, supporting local musicians since 1872. Play music for life.
I'm Josh from Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration. I hope you are staying healthy. We continue to respond to structural, fire, and water emergencies. We are combating COVID-19 with our highly trained staff and latest disinfection systems, providing preventative and reactive disinfection to facilities around the region, while working with area hospitals on isolation areas and air filtering. At Panhandle, we continue to follow social distancing and hygiene protocols. We are dedicated to our community, and together we will get through this.
Just like they always do, Quaker Steak and Lube at the Highlands continues to serve the Ohio Valley. The Lube is still open for carryout and now offering their $10 meal deal every day of the week. Get one entree and one sidecar for just $10. Pick from steak, wings, ribs, and more. Call in or order online at thelube.com and follow them on Facebook to stay up to date on their latest specials and promotions.
Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 want to thank the owners and contractors of the Ohio Valley for using their locally trained workers to help build for the future. Local 83 helps design, fabricate, and build the gas infrastructure for the oil and gas industry here in the Ohio Valley. Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 is 300 members strong and growing. They also do residential, commercial, and industrial work on both sides of the river. For more information, call Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 at 304-233-4445.
Hello everyone, from the Watchdog. I'm the Storm Tracker, Darnell Foster. With a look at your local weather forecast for your start to the work week. Under mostly cloudy skies, a widely scattered shower in the forecast. Highs near 76. Overnight low of 63 degrees under mostly cloudy skies. Clouds, a little bit of sunshine around for your Tuesday. Highs should return into the mid-80s. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
It started starting. It's starting.
Here goes nothing.
Morning, sunshine.
Just shut up and turn the radio on.
Put the radio.
Just turn the radio on.
I think I know what people want to hear when they first wake up.
A tacky, run-of-the-mill morning show.
I love this show.
Me too. You know, I really do love listening to your show.
Well, thank you. You obviously have excellent taste.
Come on, it's showtime.
This is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe and Brad Leonard behind the board in the producer's chair.
Well, it's a Monday. We're in the home stretch now. Final hour. Lots still to do. Lots we have already done. We talked earlier this morning with Secretary of State Mac Warner in West Virginia about poll worker recruitment week. Also about the absentee ballot applications that are going out via govotewv.com or via your county clerk, or in Ohio County by talking to your county clerk. Well, everybody in Ohio County is going to get an absentee ballot application. If we need to track down Tim McCormick and get him on the show the next day or two, I need to track down his number. So kind of remind me about that. So that was part of what we did in the last hour of the show here on the program. We've also been talking about football. We do have one slight schedule readjustment for our fall football this weekend, but it really isn't pandemic related. However, across the state, there are 11 high schools that are not going to be able to have their home openers or their opening games, not all home openers, but not going to be able to have their opening games because of pandemic concerns. And there is a rally to protest those cancellations scheduled this morning in Charleston. The governor will be having his daily or every other day press conference today. I would anticipate he will talk about this. I'll be curious to see whether the governor gives in to the pressure of parents complaining, as he did with the marching band thing, for example. And again, I agree with the marching band thing. I just think that the governor should never have prevented the marching bands from marching. And I don't think, therefore, you should give in to pressure. You should do the right thing to begin with. So I'll be curious to see how the governor responds to that, if he does today. And I would anticipate he will respond today in his press conference this morning. Coming up, we're going to talk about the nature of nature. I think that's the way I want to phrase it. It goes beyond just climate change, but it goes to, can we preserve things like the Arctic Wildlife Refuge Reserve, Arctic Wildlife Refuge, and can we preserve that and not somehow crumble economically? The battle between the environment and the economy, how big a battle does it have to be? We'll talk about that. The Trump administration continues to talk about doing a number of things that are, I don't think, very good for the environment. We'll talk with ecologist and activist Dr. Enric Sala about that in just a couple of minutes here on the show. Divorce rates are skyrocketing during the pandemic. Playing golf, though, is going up as well. So this is kind of good news, bad news, if you will. We'll have the D.C. Digest for you. Reports surfaced that the Justice Department secretly tried to restrict the Mueller investigation into Trump's Russia ties. Just part of what we'll do in our daily D.C. Digest. And the Morning Intel details a survey that Ohio County sent out to their parents. Schools sent out to the parents about returning to school. And I will not dispute the numbers, but I think we need to look a little behind the scenes, between the lines, at what may be actually at work there. So hopefully I'll have time to get into that before the morning is over and done with. And I want to talk about outdoor dining. You know, I have always been a huge fan of outdoor dining, and I like the fact that more and more local restaurants now have added outdoor dining options because they had to in the beginning. The first way to get back to opening up their restaurants was to have outdoor dining. I love sitting in the outdoor, whether it's a cup of coffee or a burger or a full meal or what have you. You go to many other cities, whether they're large cities like New York City, where outdoor dining is a staple, or even smaller cities on the East Coast and so on, where outdoor dining is a pretty big deal. And I've always enjoyed it. I love outdoor dining. Now, I will be honest, I haven't been to the outdoor dining places because, you know, I'm concerned about the pandemic. But a lot of restaurants have added it, and a lot have discovered that there is a huge value economic value to them in outdoor dining. A lot of people like the outdoor dining. The West Sports Bar has a great outdoor space, for example. Little places like the Bridge Tavern downtown have just put a few tables out on the sidewalk. That's really neat. You see that in some other places as well. But Biffy, here's the question. When the snows come, it's great to be dining outdoors when the sun is out and the skies are blue, and maybe even a little sprinkle is okay if you've got an umbrella at your table. But what do you do when the weather turns cold? Will outdoor dining just fade away? Will they pull up the tables, close up their sidewalks, and go back inside? I don't have an answer to that question. Chicago, which is, of course, a much colder weather area than we are, but Chicago is offering a cash prize to city residents who come up with the best ideas for outdoor dining in the wintertime. The mayor of Chicago announced the Winter Dining Challenge, $5,000 prize for 3 local residents. Each would get $5,000 if they come up with the best ideas for outdoor dining. They've got an online way you can submit that, all that kind of stuff. The winners will be chosen in 3 categories in Chicago: outdoor dining, standalone structures, in other words, just not attached to the restaurant, but a simple outdoor space set aside just for dining, and indoor adjacent spaces where it's close to the it's close to the restaurant, but it still has that outdoor feel. And of course, outdoor dining is a better way if you're concerned about COVID, like I am. Outdoor dining is less of a concern than indoor dining. So they're going to be they're talking about this in Chicago and elsewhere. I had a story here. Where is it, real quick? Toronto has embraced outdoor winter dining. Now, of course, that's because they're a cold weather city. Scandinavian cities have outdoor winter dining. Chicago is much colder than we are. Will they have outdoor dining in the wintertime? I don't know. And what will we do? Again, lots of people are attending the outdoor dining spaces around here. Biffy, you go to Generations, a good Biff, and you see a lot of people out on the outdoor deck at Generations, right?
Yeah, we actually went there yesterday for lunch after the recital.
And you have, as I mentioned, the West Sports Bar has got a great outdoor dining space that people are taking advantage of. Smaller places like the Bridge Tavern downtown where outdoor dining is being appreciated. But what happened, and I love outdoor dining. I love the idea of sitting outdoors, whether it's just a plain cup of coffee, which is fine, or whether it's a meal, it's great. But what do we do? And again, this is one of the unintended positive consequences of the pandemic. A lot of us, like me, have argued that we need more outdoor dining experiences around here. And because it was the only way for restaurants to open up in the beginning after the pandemic pause, a lot of places added outdoor dining and discovered, hey, people like this. So I think it's great. But will it all vanish come wintertime? Of course, maybe the pandemic will vanish come wintertime. I don't think so. But maybe it will. Anyways, if you're in Chicago, you get a chance to, if you come up with some ideas and they're successful, you could win $5,000 for each of the 3 residents who come up with plans for outdoor dining. They have some guidelines, so you have to have some research. You can't just say, hey, why don't you build an igloo? You got to actually have some research done, some examples of where it may have worked and so on. But outdoor dining in the wintertime, what do we do about that? That was kind of interesting. All right, 9:18 here on the Watchdog Morning Show for a Monday morning. Glad you're along with us. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook Live. The video feed is up and running. Also, of course, our YouTube channel, which is a great way to catch up on the archived video files of not just my show, but all of the shows here on the Watchdog. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, the Watchdog, and you can watch all of our videos all together, archived there together. I appreciate that. Thanks to those of you who are watching this morning. Of course, we have our podcast page at watchdognetwork.com. Click on the podcast page. You can catch the interviews and some of my rants and conversations that Biff and I have are on our podcast page. And you can now get our podcast via iTunes podcasts as well. So all different ways for you to listen. Earlier this morning, we were talking with Zach Petty from the Big Seven about our morning weather forecaster, about the more intense weather that we've been having around here lately and the huge, horrific storms that we had on Friday with the flooding and more and more people complaining about flooding. And Zach didn't want to get into any of the politics of climate change, and I get that. I want to talk somewhat about that, but in a little different perspective here with Dr. Enric Sala, who is an activist and ecologist, has a new book out called The Nature of Nature. And I want to talk about sort of ecology and the economy and can they survive together and so on. Doctor, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning.
I appreciate your being here with us. You know, we are seeing a lot of movement, and it's the culmination of movement, but we're seeing a lot of movement by the Trump administration to want to invade places that have been ecologically sacrosanct for a while, specifically talking about the oil and gas leases on the Alaska Wildlife Refuge and so on. And I think one of the questions that always comes up is there a way to balance economy and ecology? You pay a lot of attention to this. You're an activist in this area. What's the answer to that question?
There is no other way, because the economy is based on a biological system that supports life on our planet. And you mentioned opening the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge for oil. You know, this is ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense because we are awash in oil. Oil is very cheap. We have enough oil and gas. And, you know, we don't need to destroy one of the most sacred places that belongs to all Americans.
I agree with that it's not necessary, but let's set that aside. Let's not get into the argument whether it's needed. Does it do any damage? What's the problem? What's the problem with allowing oil and gas exploration in the Wildlife Arctic Refuge? What's the difficulty with that?
Yeah, it's drilling in the Arctic. It's logging forest in the Amazon for cattle grazing. It's logging forest in Indonesia for palm oil. You know, we have enough oil in the world to run our economy right now. We have enough food to feed 10 billion people. Only that we waste a third of it from the table, from the farm or the boat to the table. And you know, we are destroying the ability of nature to provide everything that we need to survive. You know, the oxygen we breathe comes from not only the forest of the land, but also from plants, microscopic plants in the ocean. The food we eat is plants and animals. We have insects and birds that pollinate the crops that we eat. We have forests filtering our clean water. And we released an economic report this year that shows that if we protected a third of the planet, we would reduce the risk of future pandemics. We would prevent the extinction of 1 million species of plants and animals and the collapse of our life support system. We would allow nature to capture much of the carbon pollution we expel into the atmosphere and help to mitigate climate change. And the cost of that, the cost of protecting a third of the planet with all these benefits, would be less than what we spend today on video games.
That's an interesting analogy. I like that analogy. One of the problems I see so often in our conversations on the national scene is that we tend to say, as I began with, the economy or ecology, as if the economy, by that I mean invading our wildlife refuge and taking and other natural resources, as if the attack on those resources is the only way to get economic benefit from them. And I think what you're saying is that there is economic value in preserving those resources, that we actually have a positive economic value by doing the right thing as opposed to the wrong thing.
Absolutely. It's not just the right thing. It's if we care about our own survival. And look, this pandemic, made it very clear, right? Everybody has been affected. Now, people cannot say that this is something that will happen in the future or to someone else. Everybody has been affected by the pandemic. And what is the cause of the pandemic? That we trade in wildlife, that somebody manipulated or cut or killed or ate a wild animal in China, and a virus spilled over from that wild animal to that person and creating a local outbreak. And thanks to our globalized lifestyle, that outbreak spread like wildfire across the world, creating this pandemic. So it is our broken relationship with nature. It is our trading wildlife across the world like commodities, our encroaching upon intact habitats like forests that put us in touch with these new infectious diseases that our immune system is not used to. So if we ban wildlife trade, if we stop doing all this illegal traffic of species and protected all these habitats, all these wonderful ecosystems that are intact, we would be reducing the risk of the next pandemic and preventing the loss of trillions of dollars, economic loss. So that's, I think, the most clear relationship between protecting nature and economic benefit.
I know that you like to talk about the moral imperative, and so do I. I think that we have to talk about doing what is right, but a lot of people want to put things in dollars and cents terms, and so I think we do need to look at the dollars and cents of it. As you're saying, there is economic value to doing what is right. We can both do right and do good economically. You said something earlier which is really basic and simple, and all of us learned this back in grade school, and yet I think we forget it, Dr. Sala, and that is that everything is in balance in nature. And when man intrudes, I sound like I'm on my soapbox here, but when man intrudes, we put things in imbalance. We disturb that balance, and that's not a good thing.
That's not a good thing because, this balance is very dynamic, it's very fragile, as we have seen. I heard you speak about the extreme weather events before I joined, and we have a stronger hurricane that deliver more rain. We have all this loss of nature, desertification, the pandemic. It's all the same crisis. It's all related to our broken relationship with nature. And it's kind of suicidal, right? If an alien came from outer space and looked at us humans, he would think, what are these guys doing? This is the only place where they can live, and they are doing their best to destroy it. It doesn't make any sense. But going back to the economics, for every dollar that the government spends on our national parks, that generates $10 in economic output. From tourism and services, people who want to see nature, and that generates all this revenue that is distributed among many people across all the states in which there are national parks. So $1 investment, $10 return. I think that's a pretty good economic investment.
And our national parks are under attack as well. This administration, and it's again a culmination of some other things as well, but this administration wants to allow intrusion into the preservation of our national parks. I love the national parks. I've been to quite a few of them, and I don't want to see oil wells or gas wells or even know that they're around, and yet that's part of what's being talked about. Can you imagine, gas wells in Yosemite or something of that nature? And yet that's the kind of stuff we're talking about.
Yes, that's unfortunately what's going on now, but the national parks are not only America's best idea, right? But they are sacred grounds not only for Native Americans, also they are our common heritage, not just of American citizens, but the citizens of the world. These natural jewels. There are very few places that are still intact, that are still in that balance. And we don't need to destroy them. As I mentioned before, we have enough food to feed 10 billion people. But our agricultural system and our food systems are so wasteful, so inefficient, that a third of that food is lost or wasted from the farm to the table. So just improving the efficiency, just improving the way we produce food and distribute food, we would not need to cut new forests or graze new grasslands or drain new wetlands. Our footprint is enough for what we need.
I don't like to prioritize, if that's the right word, or to create a list, but there are numerous ecological threats that we're facing right now, threats to nature. Give me one or two of the biggest that you worry about.
Well, the two biggest are global warming and the loss of nature, the destruction of natural habitats, of forests and grasslands, wetlands, coral reefs. These are the two biggest existential threats for humanity. Now, everything else is pegged to these ones, because if we worry with reason. We are right to worry about all these social issues and economic issues, but human society, so the economy is a subset, is a creation of human society. And human society could not exist without a healthy natural environment that provides all these things that we absolutely need to survive and that we cannot recreate. Right? We cannot recreate what nature gives us for free. So we're basically, we're very good at trying to kill the goose with the golden eggs.
Isn't that sort of the double-edged sword of of science? Is that we know that everything is in balance, as I said. We know that there are dangers afoot if we mess up that balance, whether it's in our national parks, the Arctic refuge, or global climate change. But we have people have come to believe that no matter what the problem is, we can fix it. And there are some things I don't think we can fix.
Absolutely. That's classic human arrogance, because, it takes billions of dollars to keep 4 humans alive at the International Space Station every year. Right? Mm-hmm. It takes a lot of energy to keep those 4 people alive. There is nothing we can do to recreate the conditions that, in a spontaneous way, will keep these people alive and surviving and thriving in that little space colony, the only one we have. Right? So it is very arrogant to believe that we can replicate all these things. And science, the problem is not science. The problem is the use we make of science. It is the misuse for short-term greed that is a problem. It is like, we are trying to make as much money in the casino of the Titanic, after hitting the iceberg.
After hitting the iceberg, exactly. We are, during the Democratic primary election, there was a lot of talk in the debates about dealing with climate issues. I'm not so sure we're going to see as much of that as we head into the general election. But from your perspective, sir, what do you think the average American citizen ought to be looking for, asking about, anticipating hearing from candidates for public office, certainly for the presidency in particular, but even other public offices, about the nature of nature?
Despite the attempts from the contrarians and the deniers that, we are not having wildfires, we are not having extreme weather events, that this has nothing to do with our pollution, I think people should be asking, we're suffering from all these things. Our planet is becoming more unstable. We have many more disasters, more storms, more wildfires, more droughts, more flooding. What is your plan to fix this? That's the question. What is your plan to fix our existential crisis?
Very briefly, tell me how you became, you are a scientist, but you were a scientist and ecologist, but you've kind of moved over the edge into being more of an activist. I mean, was there a moment when you began to look at what was happening and saying, my God, I've got to do something about this, or at least I've got to make people aware of this?
Yeah, well, I'm still a scientist. Actually, I'm publishing more scientific papers now than when I was at the university. But I was an academic. I am a recovering academic, if you will. I was a professor at the University of California in San Diego, studying the impacts of humans in the ocean, the impacts of fishing, the impacts of global warming. And one day I realized that all I was doing was writing the obituary of the ocean. I was describing with more and more detail how the ocean life was dying. So I felt like the doctor who's telling you how you're going to die with excruciating detail, but not offering a cure. And I decided to quit academia and dedicate my life to work on the cure and help to restore the richness and the health and the productivity of the ocean so we can all enjoy it.
And your book, The Nature of Nature, that is out now. I know it was preparing to be published. Is it out and available now?
It is out and available, yes. It was published last week.
Okay, so it is available. The Nature of Nature, which delves into a lot of these things and a great deal more. And it's good reading. I think people should take time to maybe seek it out and find out more about this. Again, this is an issue. We want to hide these things, Doctor. We want to put these things somewhere in a closet and pretend they aren't happening. Whether you're a climate denier or even really someone who believes in global climate change and so on, we want to put them in a closet and say, let's worry about that later. And later, quite likely, is going to be too late. At least that's my opinion.
Absolutely. I remember there were discussions about whether the lockdown in New York for the pandemic happened too late, right? Had it been established a week or 2 weeks before, they could have saved 20,000 lives, right? The same thing with global warming. The more we wait, the more expensive it's going to be, the more difficult it's going to seem to be solvable, right? And, this is not something that we can do something about in the future because, tell this to the people who are suffering the wildfires in California, right? Or the people who are suffering floods on a sunny day in Florida, in Miami. Global warming, the impacts of global warming are here. They have been here for a while. And our destruction of nature, our loss of nature, is happening. It has been happening for a while. So, if you have a wound, you want to take care of it right now, not tomorrow. So we're talking about the same thing.
And it is not something esoteric, something on some sort of a big bird's eye picture of things. As you alluded to and I mentioned earlier, here literally in my neighborhood and in our community over the weekend, we had a horrific rain event on Friday. Huge amount of rain coming down in a short period of time. Hillsides were getting flooded, basements were getting flooded. And I've talked to a number of people in our community who say, well, I've lived in my house all my life and I've had this happen twice in 50 years and now 4 times in 2 years. Well, something is at work there, and it's impacting us not just at some sort of esoteric government, going to cost money for FEMA kind of level, but at our own personal level. As I literally look out my window, I'm broadcasting from home right now, as I look out my window and I see some of my backyards of neighbors who are filled with all of the belongings they had to drag out of their flooded basements over the weekend, it's costing us quite literally as individuals as well. So it's not some, like I said, I'm repeating myself, but it's not some esoteric issue. It's one that's here now and that we literally can see. And we need to do something about it. Professor, I appreciate your time this morning. I have to move on. The Nature of Nature is the book. I encourage people to check it out. And I thank you for the work that you do and for being with us today.
Thank you very much for having me.
Have a great day. Appreciate it. Dr. Enric Sala is the National Geographic Explorer in Residence. He has written a number of books, scientific papers. He is a scientist. I didn't mean to imply he wasn't. But he's kind of transformed from just being a scientist researching things into being an activist as well. And The Nature of Nature is the book he's written. I might want to encourage you to check that out. Now, I want to talk about a few other odds and ends, and we're heading to the home stretch. Bob Westfall may or may not be in with us coming up from the Big 7 in a handful of minutes, and then we'll turn things over to Hoppy at 10. Right now, though, I'll turn things over to our team from Metro News for some Ohio Valley headlines.
The Metro News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
Biff, I think I'll do a DC Digest, so if you want to get the intro ready. You're a good man. Okay, I think I'll do that when we come back. And then we'll wait and see what happens with Bob. We always do. I'm going to step out for a minute and go say hello to Teddy. I'll be right back.
Tell him what we did. Show him your map and tell him what we did. What did you do?
We went on a treasure hunt.
No, you're kidding.
Just found treasure inside your house.
In the house?
We opened it.
You opened the treasure already?
Now we're gonna make a note. So it's gonna say, I is going on a treasure hunt tomorrow. See if there's any treasure.
See if there's any more treasure?
Yeah.
Oh, I get so excited.
Because we saw animals.
Oh, I'm very excited about that, buddy.
Living on these stuff. Here's the treasure.
Is that the treasure? Yay! There's my buddy. Oh, hi, binoculars. They're so nice.
We came here. This is where we found. We walked all the way around the block. Going around
Yeah,
the
and
treasure.
I'm around
You show Granddad your map?
the block.
Where's your map? Did you show it to me? So he knows what we had to follow?
On that table.
Oh.
See that? Do this. I can open it.
Wow.
That's
That's it right there. X marks the spot.
We had to get
that's
it down
what-
and the
this
rail.
is where the treasure was.
Oh, boy.
Right here.
You're kidding. Right here.
No.
It's on the floor.
That's supposed to be picked up and put it right there.
Yes, that's great. And the treasure was in our house?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
And we didn't even know it till we got back.
That's great. Kenny, I have to go back on the radio. I'll be back.
Trying to see Granddad's face.
Hey, binoculars wants to come in.
Hi, binoculars.
He wants to come in.
He wants to come in. Okay, come on in. Come on in. There's binoculars. Is he going to stay with me? Are you going to come over here with me?
I'm gonna make a note.
Okay, you make a note. Hi, binoculars. Nice binoculars. Good boy.
Oh boy.
Okay, I'm back. Oh, I wanted to do this thing to him first.
covered. From your property and equipment to your employees and your family, Glessner Wharton Andrews Insurance has the drive and the ability to keep you protected.
Frio Stack and Associates auctioneers, realtors, certified appraisers specializing in antiques, business liquidations, multi-parcel land auctions. Frio Stack and Associates is a regional business offering the executor, attorney, agent, and other individuals the most comprehensive and technologically advanced auction and appraisal services available. For information on our service, call our office at 304-233-3168 or email frioauc@aol.com. Frio Stack and Associates sells the earth and everything on it.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm the Storm Tracker, Darnell Foster. With a look at your local weather forecast for your start to the work week. Under mostly cloudy skies, a widely scattered shower in the forecast. Highs near 76. Overnight low of 63 degrees under mostly cloudy skies. Clouds, a little bit of sunshine around for your Tuesday. Highs should return into the mid-80s. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
Thank you for riding with the Watchdog. Live and local, just the way you like it. The perfect cure for your quarantine blues. The Watchdog on Facebook Live. Watch the Watchdog weekdays on Facebook Live, beginning with the morning show with Howard Monroe at 7 a.m. Local talk radio, Watchdog style. Give us a call and tell us what you're thinking. Locally, 304-214-1600. Out of the area, toll free, 866-514-1600 or 304-232-8255.
Conversation you care about from people you know. The Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues.
Let me double check the temperature. It was 60 last I checked. Let me do a quick check here again. Bumped up a little bit. 63 degrees at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport. About 60 degrees here at my home studio in the Elm Grove section of Wheeling, and 60 at the Robinson Auto Group Studios downtown Wheeling in the heart of the Ohio Valley. We have a little visitor with us if you're watching on Facebook Live video. This is Binoculars. Binoculars is a Toy Story character. It's a Toy Story character that little Teddy got over the weekend, and Binoculars is a sweet and quiet. He's a nice little Binoculars. And so Teddy decided, he's in the other room right now, but he decided that Binoculars wanted to come in and sit and watch the radio show. So during the break, you would have heard Teddy, or if you're watching on Facebook Live, would have seen him come in. Oh, there he is. Hi, buddy. You want to take Binoculars back with you? Thank you, pal. Oh, you're going to check another note? Oh, you got a note on the door?
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
So, but you can, says, I am going, Teddy is going, I am going on a treasure hunt tomorrow.
Okay.
For more footprints.
All right, you go on a treasure hunt. He's going on a treasure hunt.
I love it.
So he decided Binoculars wanted to come and visit, but now he came and took Binoculars back. So I guess that was enough.
Well, Howard,
but he is going. What's that?
If you're going to search, you might need binoculars to search different places. I mean,
well, he's going on a treasure hunt, so he may need binoculars to find things.
I mean, if you're going through caves or whatever, you never know.
That's entirely possible. Maybe, even on Facebook Live, you couldn't see it because the door is not in the camera range, but he opened the door to the office and he's got a treasure map taped to the outside of the door. So he's on a treasure hunt right now through the house. So, all right, we'll be playing. I have a feeling I'm on a treasure hunt when I get done here today at 10, Biffy. I think that's probably what's.
Yeah, I know what you're going to be doing.
And I'm going to have sausage, gravy, and biscuits too.
Yeah.
My wife, bless her heart. Yesterday I was on my way back from preaching in Dillonvale, and the phone rang in the car, and I answered it. And I have the speaker phone. Don't pick up the phone. I answered the phone, and she said, "I think I'm going to go out and get you some sausage, gravy, and biscuits. Is that what you want?" Who is this? Who is this calling me? It doesn't sound like my wife. But she went out, so I always get as you all know, I've told you before, I now get the family size. So I had a little bit yesterday and I have some more today. So I'm very excited. I'm going to go on a treasure hunt and have sausage gravy and biscuits. Life is going to be good. I got a text here, or I actually got a repost of a Facebook page from one of our listeners. As we all know, there have been some new restaurants opening up here in the Upper Ohio Valley during the pandemic. The Char House, Elm Grove Subs, I think Salsa Joe's opened up just during the pandemic. Lots of new places opening up. Unfortunately, and some are shutting down and some are moving. So I got this note from the Flatiron Coffee Shop, Biffy, which is right down the street from the radio station.
Yeah.
In the cleverly enough, the Flatiron building. It is with some sadness, but a greater measure of excitement to announce Flatiron Coffee will be closing our doors in Wheeling and moving to a new location in St. Clairsville. No explanation in this whole thing as to what's prompting that. I don't know. It just says, we'll miss downtown Wheeling. We'll miss the beautiful building. We've had the privilege of operating inside. But more than anything, we will miss the Wheeling community that we have come to know and love. We hope we can continue to serve many, if not all of you. From our new location in St. Clairsville, we have always believed the best is yet to come, and this season of change is no exception. Thank you for all your smiles, your conversation, your usual order, your everything. We look forward to serving our Ohio Valley for years to come. So, Flatiron Coffee, which is in the Flatiron building, right as Main Street bends across 16th Street, is now moving to St. Clairsville. Again, no explanation of what that's about. It may be a better rent deal. Maybe the family likes to be. I don't know what it's all about. But anyways, that was sent to me by one of our listeners, and it's on their Flatiron Facebook page. But thank you to the listener for alerting me to that. It's a good play and good coffee. We had some coffee from there before, Biffy.
Yeah, it is. It's I liked it.
But I wonder. There are a lot of coffee shops downtown, and of course, Wheeling Coffee and Spice is the granddaddy of them all, or grandma of them all, or whatever you want to call it. So maybe it's just too hard to compete. I don't know. Down the street, a couple blocks away in Center Wheeling is I don't know what they call it now. It used to be Center Cup Cafe. They've got a different name for it, but it's open up now too. So that may be behind it. I don't know. Maybe we'll find out. Maybe we won't. I don't know. Do I have time for DC Digest?
Yeah, we can do that.
Let's do the DC Digest right now.
From Pennsylvania Avenue to Capitol Hill, here's a look at the news affecting you from the nation's capital. This is the DC Digest on the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
Well, President Trump offered John Kelly, who was the Homeland Security Secretary at the time, he later went on to become Chief of Staff for a while, but President Trump offered Homeland Security Secretary John Kelly, the position of FBI Director 1 day after he fired James Comey from the job. But remember one of the things that Comey said that bothered him a lot about the meeting he had with Trump, where Trump basically said, I want you to pledge loyalty to me, kind of like a mob boss. You will now pledge your loyalty to the boss. And Comey said he couldn't do that. Comey said, I will pledge loyalty. I will pledge that I will always be honest with you and that I will always share the truth with you. I cannot pledge loyalty. Apparently he being Trump, asked John Kelly to pledge loyalty to him as well. This according to New York Times reporter Michael Schmidt. In his book, Kelly needed to be loyal to him and only to him, the president said. Kelly, of course, later went on to become White House Chief of Staff. According to Schmidt's book, he pushed back, saying that he would be, quote, loyal to the Constitution and to the rule of law, but not to Donald Trump personally. And again, that is exactly what Comey claimed that Trump had asked of him. I want you to pledge your loyalty to me. And I don't think I'm being outlandish when I say that sounds like a mob boss. You will pledge your loyalty to the family. You will pledge your loyalty to me. That's exactly what's happening. By the way, Showtime is doing a two-part movie. It's a docudrama, but it's a movie about Comey, which will be released sometime in the month of September. So be aware of that. Meanwhile, on the DC Digest, the Justice Department in 2017 took secret steps to curtail the investigation by Mueller into the Russia election tampering. According to the New York Times, former Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein had ordered former Special Counsel Robert Mueller to examine any links and coordination between the Russian government and Trump's campaign, but privately, he told Mueller to conduct only a criminal investigation. Now you say, well, that's okay. Why not? Well, because it was really supposed to be a counterintelligence investigation. The issue was not whether Donald Trump, the total issue wasn't whether Donald Trump committed a crime, which the Mueller report said, well, because he's the president, he can't commit a crime, so we can't get him for that. The question was, did he do something contrary to the best interests of the United States? It's counterintelligence, not criminal. And that's not a minor matter. That's not splitting hairs. That's something that really makes a big difference. So now this is a story that's out there. It could be disputed. I have not yet seen whether Trump is going to dispute. Well, I can guarantee you Trump will dispute it. I haven't seen how he's disputing it. But the report is the Justice Department secretly told Mueller he could not investigate counterintelligence concerns, only criminal concerns. And again, when the report came out, everybody says, oh, it exonerated Mueller. Well, or exonerated Trump. Well, no, not really, because what it did was say that he had they could not criminally charge him because he's president. All right, let me head over to the Big 7, WTRF TV. Bob Westfall is here. A quick check of what's going on this morning and throughout the day today at the Big 7. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning, Howard. How are you?
Good. What are you working on today?
All right. Friday night football was the first of the COVID season, if you will. We're going to take a look. We're going to go over to Martins Ferry, excuse me, and talk to them about how things went, social distancing, things like that. Obviously, it was a 2020 type of weekend with football games canceled and delayed and rescheduled for the next day. But we're going to see how things went at the stadium, how things dealing with COVID, social distancing, and things like that went when it came to the football game.
That's good. I'll be curious to see how it all worked out. Yeah, that's great.
Senator Capito will be in Wheeling today. She's going to be at Ogilvie Park. She's going to be talking to them about the PPE and how that assistance helped them to stay open. So we'll be there this afternoon. I think she's there later this afternoon around 3 o'clock. So we will have that. And one sign of the end of summer, the last city pool is closing, Garden Parks pool. Today is its last day of operation. So one sign that summer is officially over. So we're gonna.
Well, it's August 31st. We turn to September tomorrow.
Yes, and that's yeah. I just can't believe it's September already. Also going to preview.
I know. I can't either.
It's like the last 6-8 months. Just kind of. It's a weird dynamic. It's either taken forever or it's just like a flash and it's over and it's done. So, but yeah, tomorrow's September 1st. So we'll have that. Symphony Under the Stars is coming up. We're going to preview that event. It's, again, unique like so many things during the pandemic. It's going to be unique this time around. And we're also going to preview the new In Wheeling magazine, which is out now. So we're going to have those today. So we're excited about a little bit of everything today.
All right, sounds good. I'll be curious to watch the COVID story in particular and then some positive stuff. That's good. And unlike you, I can't believe tomorrow is September the 1st, and this weekend is Labor Day weekend. Well, where did it go, Bob? Where did it go? On the other hand, part of me wants to say, go 2020, go. Be gone and be done with.
Yeah, election day.
All right, people can.
65 days away? 63 days.
Yep, something like that.
1 minute, 4 seconds.
All right, there you go. You got the countdown going on that. All right, people can check all the news out at noon, 5, 6, 10, 11, 5:30, the statewide show, and always at WTRF.com. Thanks, Bob. I appreciate it.
Bye, guys.
Have a good day. Well, that's it. I got to say sayonara, see you, bye-bye, farewell. I got to go. I got to get out of here. Kercheval's got the calm coming up next. As for me, good Lord willing, creeks don't rise, bat phone doesn't ring. Don't get impeached. Don't retire. Ticker keeps on ticking. Don't overeat myself. And I don't get lost on my treasure hunt. Teddy says it's okay to go back to work tomorrow, Granddad. I'll be back tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock, on the Go Run of the Big Gig. Are you back with me, Biff?
I'm back for tomorrow.
We'll keep on doing it till we get it right.
That could be a long time.
Indeed.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
Expected to accuse President Trump of...
All right, Biffy. Not too bad. Not overly exciting, but we made it through. So. Was Bob on hold very long? I think I missed seeing your first note. Was he on hold very long? Okay. All right. That's good. I hate to keep him waiting, but okay. Very good. All right. We got a 5 o'clock meeting tonight, so I'll be in at 5 o'clock, but you'll be gone. So if you need me for anything, I will be around. Otherwise, I guess I'll just talk to you in the morning. Oh, we're going on a treasure hunt, a treasure hunt, a treasure hunt. That's where we're going. All right, Biffy. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it, pal. Talk to you later.
The continued need for social distancing on college campuses. ABC's Eva Pilgrim has more on some emerging cases.
In New York, SUNY Oneonta is closing for 2 weeks after a spike in cases following a large party. Governor Andrew Cuomo sending in what he calls a SWAT team of testers and tracers to address the issues. At Georgia Tech, the number of new COVID cases more than doubling in just 8 days, according to the school, jumping from 252 to 705. The university locking down a fraternity house after an outbreak.
The U.S. nearing 6 million coronavirus cases. The first ever commercial flight between Israel and the United Arab Emirates took place this morning. White House Special Advisor and son-in-law Jerry